Hello, and welcome to episode 14 of the Tweedle Eat Tweedle Run podcast, where Steph and I document our adventures at the Run Disney adventures at the Disney World and Disneyland parks. I'm Court, and this is Steph.
Hello, and as always, you can interact with us on Instagram at TweedleEatTweedleRun. You can also reach us via email at tweedleeattweedlerun@gmail.com. And if you want to listen to us, we are on Spotify as well as Amazon Music, or you can watch our lovely smiling faces on YouTube. And if you like what you see, like and subscribe. On today's episode, we are going to do part two. Look, we're actually together. Part two of the trip report from Disneyland. So we're going to talk today primarily about I guess we finished off the 5K race. We're going to talk about what we did during the day on my birthday at Disneyland and what we did during the day after the 10K races. We'll talk more about the races, I think, on the next episode.
Yes, and we might try and convince to have a special guest on that one.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see if we can convince someone to join us. But we have some fun, exciting stuff to talk about today. Steph's birthday.
Yep.
And then on the next one, this will be actually a 3-parter. So we'll keep going. So I guess we got to the end of the 5K race last episode. So let's kick it off from there. We did our race. You and I finished it. We headed back to the hotel. Nat and Paula were up, and I think they were both showered and dressed.
They were showered and dressed, ready to go, and we just had to get showered and dressed. And little did I know, Court had birthday shirts to whip out. So that was super fun.
Yep. So we had matching shirts, which actually was really helpful that day, because sometimes when you get in a lineup and we sort of get separated, we all had matching shirts. So it was like so clear that we were together.
Yep.
Which was something that I missed the next day, when it was like, it wasn't so clear that we were a group, but it was like,
they're part of us.
They're with us. Can you just let them through? And then you also wore your
tiara and my tutu.
Yes. So yes.
I was very festive.
She was living the 40 life. So
I mean, I was living my 12-year-old, I guess 10-year-old Disneyland birthday dream. Like, I blended in with all the other little princess girls, essentially.
You did. And you got a lot of people that wish you happy birthday.
I did. Yeah.
It was a great day.
It was a great day.
So we went to early entry. So at 7:02, we were in line for early entry. It started at 7:30. We lined up on because we came through downtown Disney from the hotel, and we lined up on the left-hand side of the gates where there were a lot of people lined up. And I think we were there maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, like we got there right on time, but then they told us we were in the wrong lineup.
Well, they were like, these gates aren't actually opening.
No.
You have to go around to the other side. And so we had just gotten there, really. So then when we went around to the other side, we weren't much further back in the lineups, but I kind of felt bad for the people who were right at the gates, who they hadn't informed, oh, by the way, don't wait here, because...
And they were probably there for a while.
Yeah, they probably had already been there for probably half an hour. So 7:25, we started scanning in, and then they let us in, and then we were held right on the bridge into Tomorrowland, because our plan was to rope drop Space Mountain.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to rope drop. So we were held beside Astro Orbiters until 7:30, and then that's when we were able to go in. That's when we realized, oh, wait, we've scanned into the park. We can actually book our first lightning lane.
We did.
Because that's how it works at Disneyland, is that you have to be scanned into the park before you can book. And so we booked our first lightning lane. We originally wanted to book Indiana Jones for 2 reasons. One, it fills up more quickly, but 2, it tends to go down in the morning. So sometimes if you book it, you can get a multi-experience pass pretty early in the morning. But it was already down and not available.
Yeah.
So we couldn't book it. So we booked Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I thought that it would be a really hard one to get. As it turned out, it was not.
And then we also remembered to join the virtual queue for Haunted Mansion.
Yes. Yeah. Haunted Mansion Holiday. So we joined the virtual queue. We got group 60, which we at the time thought wasn't too bad.
And then afterwards we're like, oh, it's at the end. Because we could have actually joined the virtual queue at
7 a.m.
Yeah, which we didn't know.
Yeah, which you didn't have to scan into the parks to join the virtual queue, and we didn't realize that. So anyways, we did get into the virtual queue, even though we didn't join till about just 7:30, 7:40. But anyway, so we can keep talking about that. But so at 7:37, we were walking on to Space Mountain. It was literally just a walk on, just filling up the queue. That was fun. We Nat had a scale of
the iHop scale.
Yes, how difficult the rides were going to be from a nausea perspective. And I was like, well, I suffer from motion sickness. So I was like, I can kind of tell you, like, I was like, we're going to pop up a children's grab ball for this one, Nat. She's like, okay. And so she had this, what she called the iHop scale. We're like, well, what's the, 1 is super easy, 10 is like going to make you vomit. I was like, is it because you're going to vomit up your pancakes? Why iHop? She's like, I don't know. So we don't really know, but
we just called it the iHop.
Yeah. So I think she said that one was an 8.
Yes.
I think that was, and she said it was because it was dark.
Yeah.
So, but we survived it.
Yeah.
No one threw up. Everyone liked it.
I liked it because I very much then realized, because on our last Disney World trip and in my adventures of riding Guardians of the Galaxy so many times, my body basically now has it memorized, like how the track goes and everything. So when I was riding Space Mountain, I was like, oh, it's Guardians. Like it's exactly Guardians without the screen, because it feels all the same. Like all the spins where you're going like around a planet. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is Guardians.
I have said that. I remember the first time we rode Guardians, I remember thinking like, so this is just like a better Space Mountain.
Yeah.
Because you're in the dark and there's like kind of galaxy everywhere.
Well, and it's like I had told you before, the last time I was at Disneyland, I did Space Mountain with the Star Wars hyperdrive overlay.
Yes.
And so then that made it seem like very different.
That does look really cool. I saw a video of it. It would be cool to see. Yeah. So then from there, poor Paula. So I'm a very fast walker. I definitely missed my calling as some sort of speed walker.
Speed walking.
But so I'm like, we are power walking. We're not running. You can't run at Disney, but we are power walking. So at that point, we decided, you know what, Rise doesn't open for early entry. It opens at 8 a.m. with the park. So we're like, we're going to try and get to Rise before like
the swarms.
Yeah. So we walked through Fantasyland, and they hold you at like this gate, and then they open it up and you get to continue on into Frontierland and into Star Wars Land. And so we held there, and I was like, okay, Paula, we got power walk. So Paula's like, I don't have that speed. She's like, I can walk or I can run. I can run. Yeah. So I'm literally walking and she's jogging beside me. And of course the cast member's like, no running. She's like, I can't.
Meanwhile, Nat and I are like way up here and just kind of doing our thing. And then I'm like, what is going on back here?
Poor Paula. I'm like, don't worry, Paula. We only power walk really in the mornings. Yeah. There's very few other times that we power walk. One time we ran to catch the Lion King show.
Yeah, and that was the only time I think that we did it at a weird time in the afternoon.
Yeah. Otherwise, mornings are the only time you power walk. So anyway, so we got to Rise at 8:02, and it was a walk on, and we were the first ones on that ride. Mm-hmm. Like first
group going in, like waiting in the holding area after like you get separated into the groups. Like there were just us and one other group, and I was like, oh, I've never been in here so quietly.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, and everyone loved that ride. Yeah. Nat said it was great. Paula hadn't done it, right?
They did do it. They did do it, but the problem was when they did it, it was like very much towards the end of the day, and they were very tired.
Right.
So Charlie was kind of done with it by that
point. And he was disappointed that it wasn't a thrill ride.
Yes, that was more of an experience rather than a thrill ride.
Yeah, he wanted a roller coaster.
Yes.
So anyway, so we did that. We went and did some photo pass pictures with all of our matching shirts.
Yes, our matching shirts in front of the Millennium Falcon, and we had a great photo pass guy.
He was great.
He took so many pictures.
He took so many pictures of us. He's like, okay, and so many of the magic shots where it's like, okay, now hold your hand out here, or everyone look over there and be surprised.
Yeah.
And so that was fun to get a whole bunch of those little photo shoot. And then we went and got some food. Then we went to the Millennium Falcon. We rode it.
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It was a walk on. It was only is this the one where we had people with us?
With this one, we had people with us because they were the engineers.
Yes. So I told Nat, I said, okay, because I was like, this would be a 10 out of 10 for me for motion sickness if I look at the screen. But I'm like, but if you're an engineer or a gunner, you can just push your buttons and you just sit there and just push. And you don't look at the screen and you're fine. And Nat's like, okay. So anyway, so they're like, who wants to be pilots? And we're like, Steph and Paula.
Steph and Paula pilots. Paula went up and down. I went side to side.
It was fun.
It was fun.
And Nat and I pushed our gunner buttons, and she said that was probably more fun than the engineers. They don't have as much to do. So We rewrote it another time where then it was just the four of us, and we had a little more to do because then you kind of had to do a little bit.
And Paula and I had reverse role as pilots, and discovered that the second time around we were much better at our second roles.
Oh, good.
Because Paula couldn't figure out how to go up and down the first time, and then I figured out how to go up and down, and so I think we crashed last. Like I think our success rate was like 27% the first time.
Well, I was gonna say, from a seat behind you, there was a lot of bumps.
Yeah,
we were bumping into a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So we did that. Then we went to Ronto Roasters.
Got our breakfast Ronto wraps.
Yes, we got the breakfast Ronto wrap, and we got the Ronto Les Garden wrap,
which was delicious.
It was the surprise hit.
Yeah.
Like we got both of them. UI and Nat shared them. Paula just got a coffee, but I think all three of us liked the Ronto Les Garden wrap.
Delicious, shockingly so. Like you wouldn't know that it wasn't real scrambled egg in it.
Yeah, and it had like sausage that was impossible meat, and it was really tasty, and then you felt good because you feel like you ate some vegetables.
Yeah.
So 9/11, we went to Mickey and Minnie's with our lightning lane. It was a 10-minute, like we walked on, the posted wait was 10 minutes, but I don't even think it was that long. We didn't really need a lightning lane for it, but we tapped into that. So then we immediately booked a Big Thunder lightning lane. So we did Mickey and Minnie's. We talked about going on Roger Rabbit's, but then I think we decided
not to, which we then didn't get to ride Roger Rabbit at all. Spoiler alert.
I know, spoiler. So 9:35, we went to Big Thunder. We only waited 5 minutes. I can't remember what the standby was at this point, but it was definitely more than 5 minutes. As soon as we tapped in, we booked Pirates, which was like pretty much an immediate return time. So then we went to Pirates at 9:49, and we the standby was 15 minutes. We waited like 3 minutes.
We should say that Big Thunder Mountain on Nat's iHop scale was only a 2.
Yeah, she was really good with it,
which I was surprised.
Yeah, well, because and you know what, I don't find it bad either, because it's not in the dark, so you can see where you're going. It doesn't have any really big drops,
and you're outside. That's what she said.
Yeah, and you're outside, so fresh air, and it's more like quick turns. So later we were able to convince her to do the Matterhorn for the same reason, because we're like, it's going to be pretty much the same.
Yeah,
so which it was. And then obviously Mickey and Minnie's was fine. Pirates was fine.
Pirates also, I should say, side note here for Pirates, there's this debate of Pirates in Disneyland versus Pirates in Disney World, is which one is better. Disneyland's much better. It's longer, it's more detailed.
Like 5 minutes longer.
Like
there's so many more scenes.
I think it's more than 5 minutes longer, because the whole opening scene with all the skeletons, first of all, would terrify my children. So I was glad I didn't take them on it when we were in Disneyland. I had debated that just because I couldn't remember Pirates at Disneyland when I was little. And I know the Disney World one was scary enough that I'm like, oh, I don't know, it's dark. Because the whole opening scene is different. And then they have a whole extra scene at the end.
Yeah. So it's definitely longer. And yeah, I agree. I think it's better. Mickey and Minnie's was pretty much the exact same.
Yep.
I don't think there were any differences.
No, it was exactly
I've heard that the queue is more detailed for the Disneyland one, but because we did Lightning Lane, we didn't really walk through the detailed queue. So who knows? Maybe it was. We kind of saw it as we were walking by, but we were just like immediately walking on. So so after Pirates, we booked Lightning Lane for the Guardians of the Galaxy, the
Mission
Breakout. From 11 to 12. So our plan was to try and, because we were going to park hop, because we had a reservation for Lamplight Lounge in DCA. So our plan was to park hop at 11. So we booked that one. We did Jungle Cruise at 10:12. It was a posted standby of 10 minutes. It doesn't have a lightning lane. So that one we were going to have to do standby. And it had gone down, we noticed. So then when we were walking over to it, I was like, oh, it looks like it just reopened. So we ended up waiting 14 minutes. We definitely got in the wrong line. Because I remember because it splits weirdly, and then the other line just kept moving. I'm like, I don't understand why our line's not moving. But anyways, we made a bad call there. So then at 10:52, we left Disneyland. Disneyland Park. At that point, the boarding groups, we should mention, for Haunted Mansion Holiday were only at 39 to 54. And we were like, no, but we have like a dining reservation.
So they were like, it's not going to work.
We were like, but then we'll be late for that. So
should also mention too, Jungle Cruise is usually a pretty fun ride, depending on who your skipper is.
Ours was okay.
She was okay. She was not the best I've had. There are much better deliverers of dad jokes.
Yeah.
Jungle Cruises, if you like dad jokes, then you will like Jungle Cruise.
It's like it's all the delivery of
Mhm.
like and the unexpected. So
Yeah.
she was okay, but she wasn't great. It turned out our boarding group got called at 11:07.
Yes.
So we could have, I guess. This is the problem with boarding groups. You just don't know how long it's gonna, like when they're gonna call it. So anyway, so we didn't wait for that. At 11:05, we caught the Spider-Man show, which was fun. It's just like the Spider-Man comes out on the buildings in Avengers Campus and does the little
Does like
flip,
a big jump and
flip thing. So it's like 5 minutes. We watched that at 11:12. So we booked Guardians. We must have changed it to Web Slingers, I think, at some point. I think we decided to change it
to Web Slingers.
Yeah, because we did Web Slingers Lightning
First.
Lane.
It could have been if return times were better.
Oh no, you know what it was? We booked the Guardians from 11 to 12, but then when we went back in, we realized it had actually changed it. Remember?
Oh right, yeah.
To like 11:45,
and it
or
wasn't
something.
going to work then, so then we
And
switched it.
We were like, we'll be late for ours.
Because yes, we asked Nat if she'd rather do the very droppy one before or after lunch.
Yeah, she did want to do it. She said before, but then it was the
There were
timing
no
was tight.
choices.
So anyway, so we were fine. So we ended up doing Web Slingers instead.
Which was awesome because I didn't get to do Web Slingers the last time I was at Disneyland.
It's fun. It's exhausting with the arms.
It
though.
is.
And we also decided, because we rode it a second time. So we rode it the first time. I did terribly. I had like the worst score. Like I was sitting beside you, right?
Yeah.
And Steph is at like 50,000. I'm at like 5,000. I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Like, I hit the gold spiders.
Well, but then we realized we rode it again and somebody else was in the spot I was in and they also got the lowest score. And I was like, maybe that spot's just like, because of like the spiders come in from the side and I was in like the middle, whereas Steph and whoever else got the higher scores were on the outside. I was like, I think it's a better spot to sit.
But you do it as a team anyway, so.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but it was just like, what am I doing this correctly? Anyways, so we had no wait. The standby said was only 15 minutes. Like, I don't know, some of these rides surprised me that they're not busier. Like the Spider-Man ride did not have a crazy standby line, but then like Toy Story Mania, which is also a shooting game, is a lot longer wait times all the time.
I don't know, but even if you ask our friends who did both, they preferred Toy Story Mania to it.
Yeah, I did too. But I'm just saying, I would like more people to do Web Slingers so that we could do Toy Story Mania more.
You just answered your own question.
I know. Anyway, so we did Web Slingers. Speaking of Toy Story Mania, we then booked a Lightning Lane for Toy Story Mania in the afternoon. We checked into Lamplight Lounge at 11:30, and our table was like pretty much ready.
Yeah,
as soon as we checked in. It was good.
It was good.
Do you want to tell everyone what you and the other two ladies got?
Yes.
Everyone but me?
Everybody except Court, because Court does not like wine. I don't love wine either, but I will happily drink mimosas.
Yeah.
They have a mimosa flight that comes in this beautiful little archway.
So cute.
Yeah, very cute little tiny mimosas of 4 different kinds. And they were delicious and got you pretty drunk.
Yeah, everyone was feeling
pretty quickly.
I did get I can't remember what it was called.
It was like basically a Moscow Mule.
It was basically a Moscow Mule. It was delicious.
Yeah,
it
was had I not done the mimosa flight, I would have considered that drink. Maybe there was like one other one that I had.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun drinks to choose from.
And then we all got the avocado toast and steak.
Yes, and we split it because Nat had learned that there's always more food to be had. So have smaller portions.
Learn to split.
Yeah, so we each split it, and we split it based on how we liked our steak cooked.
Yes.
So I think you and Paula split because you liked your steak
more like medium rare to rare.
Yeah, and I wanted mine more medium well. So then Nat and I split, and you two split. It was great. I thought it was like a good amount of food.
It was a perfect amount of food, just enough to soak up the alcohol, just enough to not make us too drunk. But make us feel bold, because then we're being at Lamplighter Lounge. What are you right by, and can you hear everything happen?
The Incredicoaster. And so I wanted to do it because I find generally for me with motion sickness, I don't have issues with roller coasters as much, and even when it goes upside down, that doesn't really bother me that much anyway. But Nat was the one to convince. So we went to Incredicoaster. Standby was 20 minutes. We decided to do single rider.
Yep.
Because we figured, like, whatever, you're just sitting there like screaming, like you don't really need to be sitting beside someone.
So the thing that was crazy about that, we did single rider.
It was hilarious.
And then I ended up being by myself anyways. Like they ushered me on, and I was like,
okay. It was kind of weird.
It was weird.
But also the single rider line was weird. So you go into single rider line and then you have to get into an elevator.
Yeah.
and they give you like a little card,
like a little pink card,
I guess, that says you're a single rider. You go up this elevator, you go across, and you come down an elevator, and then you're standing awkwardly. Like it's not really even where there's room for a line. You're like awkwardly beside
in like a group of people.
Yeah, where they like everyone's waiting to get onto the roller coaster. And so we handed in our tickets and they like put us in the different, so Nat got paired with like this 60-year-old guy. And so she said he was her, he talked her through it. He helped her, with the nerves of riding it. But I think she said on the IHOP scale, it wasn't too bad. I thought she said it was like a 5,
something like that. But then she said it helped that she was a little bit tipsy, because the little bit tipsiness made her bold enough to be like, oh, this is a good idea.
She did say she considered bailing like a couple times, because actually while we were waiting, one of the people who, when we were going up the elevator,
totally
bailed before the elevator, and
it's like it's not that scary of a ride.
No, it has more of a drop, like one of the drops for sure. And it has these bumps that I never liked. The Slinky Dog Dash.
It has the bumps, and then it's got the one inverted loop.
Like I said, the upside down doesn't. Just because I feel like you get all crunched.
You do,
over,
and it's just and it's fine.
So
then we did that, got off. Everybody liked it. Paula really liked it. We got two Jack Num Num cookies.
Two Jack cookie num nums. Because they were right next there, and they smelled delicious, and they were delicious. They were warm, and I don't know if that was just because it was so hot.
It was so hot. No, they are served warm, but they were
so melty though.
Yeah. So warm. It's 1,000,000 degrees, and we're gonna eat warm cookie. Okay.
At this point, I had lost my water bottle also.
Oh yes, that's right. You put it down somewhere.
I still don't know where I put it down. So I put in the lost and found report, and they never found it for me, which I'm like, I literally had a sticker with my last name on it. Like it was very identifiable. So I'm not convinced that lost and found system works at all.
I don't think it works unless it's like something of like significant value, like an ID or something like that.
Yeah, maybe, because I've lost 3 things now at Disney parks and never have had anything returned to me. So they always say they're looking, and then at some point they're like, we're done, we can't find it.
Yeah.
So we had that. Then we went to Under the Sea, stand by 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes. That was, I think, mostly just to get out of the sun.
Yeah, to be nostalgic and to be in the air conditioning.
And everyone loved it.
Yes.
Because we are all children of the 80s. Yep. And we all grew up
watching
Little Mermaid and
singing all the songs
and pretending to be mermaids. So yes, we all walked out of there loving it. And then it was, and we were also kind of killing time because it wasn't ready for our lightning lane. So then our lightning lane was ready for Toy Story Mania. So we scanned in at 1:40. The standby was 45 minutes,
which is crazy.
And we waited 5.
Yeah.
So that was a nice lightning lane time. And then because we were staying at Pixar Place, I'm saying that right?
Yeah,
Pixar Place Hotel, we decided to duck back for pool and nap option. Because there's a little like walkway right there.
Yeah, it's like the secret little walkway takes you like right by Disney California, and then you're like right across the street to our hotel.
It was fantastic.
It was great.
It was so quick. Like it took all of 5 minutes. So I napped.
She Irish goodbye. She hung out at the pool for.
Was that the day I did the Irish goodbye?
You did. I did the Irish goodbye.
Great.
You
like so great.
Hung out, and Nat called like Nat's like, of course, an Irish goodbye. And so we're like, yeah, whatever. It was hot. Like the pool deck was so hot. It's a white pool deck.
Well, so we get there. So we find 2 chairs. So we're like, we'll put all our stuff on these chairs, and we'll walk over. We decided to do the slide.
Yep.
So we got to walk over to the slide. And literally the 10 feet you had to walk on these stones.
Your feet are burning.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure you're like, I burnt the bottom of my feet.
Yeah, like they hurt so much when I like went to do the stairs to go up to on the slide. I was like, my feet hurt so much. And they had all over to protect your feet, like the boot mats we have in Canada that absorb all the black ones with wool. They had those for people's feet.
Yeah.
So that you can stand on that.
And then we noticed at the pool that all around these mats were everyone's sandals.
Yeah.
Like because they had worn them to the edge of the pool before they got in because they were going to burn their feet, which was, anyways, that was crazy because it was so hot. So we did the slide, and that's when we realized that yes, the water in the slide was definitely warmer than the water in the pool. The slide was fun.
The slide was fun. It's no boardwalk slide.
No,
but it was still fun.
It wasn't one of the best slides that I've done, but
also like the pool at Pixar Place wasn't huge.
No,
like we definitely stayed at other Disney park hotels that have much larger pools.
Yeah,
But no, like the slide was great. It would have been nice had the pool been heated a little bit warmer than 82. Like, it was very refreshing. Don't get me wrong. It was a million degrees and it was lovely to be in the water, but you had to be moving in order to stay warm. And it wasn't big enough to move without a million people around. That was the thing.
Yeah. So you all stayed in the pool. You got some drinks from the pool bar.
We did.
I did my Irish goodbye. I went and had a nap. It was so great.
The one drink that Nat got had like it was some like sort of spicy habanero thing.
Yeah.
And it had a full, it's like somebody took a cucumber and sliced it vertically. So instead of just like cucumber slices, it had like a full strip of cucumber.
Yeah.
And it was thick. It was like a thick strip of cucumber.
When we were there later in the week, I saw them making it and like wrapping it around the inside of the glass before they made the drink. So that was cool. Mm-hmm. So then I napped. And we should mention, so Haunted Mansion holiday queue. So we missed our boarding group, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you could rejoin, I think it was either at noon or 1.
It was noon. Noon you could, yeah.
Which we didn't even think about.
No.
Because we could have left and rejoined. We just didn't even think about it. So at 3:55, we were like getting ready to go back to the parks. And I was like, oh,
we can get back in.
We can still, like, it was still open to join. So we joined.
And we were like group like 250 something. I don't know. It was like, bananas.
So anyways, just a tip that like, if you don't get your morning group, like you could leave it and then you can rejoin the queue. So, which we could have done, but we didn't think of it. So anyways, 4:10, we left the hotel because we had an Oga's reservation. 4:40 was our reservation. Yeah. We pretty much got there. I don't love how Disney does the reservation. So you make your
most organized system.
So you make your reservation and then you show up and they're like, okay, go check in.
So you check in
with the person. And it's like, but I've already checked in online. Okay, great. Now go to the person. And you go to the person and they're like, okay, we'll call you when your table's ready. And it's like, so why did I check in online?
So why did I just not get a notification that says, hey, your table's ready?
Yeah.
To this person.
It just seems like an unnecessary step. And but there was 2 different people, because there was one person where, oh, have you checked in online? Okay, go talk to this person. So it was like a little bit faster. Whereas like if you hadn't checked in online, there was more of a lineup to like check in. And those were also the people who were trying to join the wait list, or if they didn't have a reservation or whatever. So it was, anyways, I don't love that. But anyway, so we did that.
We got squished into a booth.
Oh my God, this is hilarious. So they take us over to this booth and there's a family of 4.
And then another 2 people?
Yeah.
Yeah, none of them were together, but they were chatting and whatever.
Yeah, the family of 4, and then there's 2 more people. And so they sit us down. And so there's 2 stools and some room in the booth. So we're like, okay, great. So we take the 2 stools and the room in the booth. And they come over and they're like, we need to fit another party here.
Another 2 people.
So like we weren't supposed to be sitting on the stools. We were supposed to all be in the booth. And this woman is like, we do not fit. There is not room for our legs. The leg room is the problem. And like, it was her and this like other gentleman who was like a little bit bigger guy, but then they had 2 kids with them. I'm like, if the issue is leg room, why aren't you just like reshuffling and put your kids in the corner? Anyways, so they came by like 2 more times, didn't they? To be like, you need to
move. And eventually they did. And then we shifted so that you guys were on the bench with us. And
so then all 4 of us were on the bench, which was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you were one of the people in the corner,
which worked out well.
Well, Steph has little legs, so sure, you sit in the corner. But even you were saying like, it wasn't an issue. I don't know what these people's problem were, but I think they were thinking if they made a big enough fuss that they wouldn't have to move. Nope. Those cast members were like, you need to move. This is what you accept.
These are the rules of Disney. You do what you're told.
But anyways, so that was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did Oga's and
and what we you didn't go home with any souvenir cocktail glasses. Mm-hmm. Nat almost went home with a loth cat.
Right.
She debated getting a loth cat and she decided not to. Mm-hmm. Paula and I each got 2 cocktails. Oh no,
you and Nat each got
Nat and I each got 2 cocktails, because then I got the
fuzzy tauntaun.
The fuzzy tauntaun.
Yeah.
Nat and I got the fuzzy tauntaun for the second one.
Yeah.
And it was funny because she was like, I don't feel anything. And like I was definitely feeling like you just have to get the foam spread on your lips and your tongue enough, because it was like, this feels weird.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say it was numbing, it was just weird, which makes me wonder what it is. I feel like I need to look up the chemical properties of this.
Yeah, it's some plant that does it.
Yeah, but they were good. All the cocktails were always delicious.
I got the Jedi Mind Trick. It was delicious. And you also got something else.
It was a sunrise. It was some sort
Tatooine?
of Tatooine sunrise, because it was like a layered
yeah
drink with all the different layers, and it was pretty. Paula got that too.
Yeah, they were good, and we had a good time and entertaining from these people who were like
not having a good time.
So from there we walked over. So then we decided to do Tiana's this night because we had to reschedule all our days. So that's, we deviated a little from what our original plan was, but we're like, we'll do Tiana's tonight. So we did a mobile order at Tiana's while we waited for our drinks, like while we were at Oga's. Then we walked over to Tiana's around 5:50. It was fine getting a table. Like we found a table outside. Yeah, like we picked up our food. It wasn't an issue. Like, but it was so it was just okay.
Yeah,
talk about the food. But one thing I'll point out is, so we did the mobile order. So everything comes in like takeaway containers with like plastic forks and stuff like that. Whereas if you go to the restaurant and it's like cafeteria style, so similar to like the plaza where you like walk in, you get a tray, you get like a real plate, real cutlery, and you go around and they like dish it out onto a plate for you. And then you go pay at the register. So I don't know. To me, I think that would have been a nicer experience.
I think so too. Yeah. But the food itself, and to be fair, thinking about this later, I don't know if it was the food itself was only okay, or else that it was 1,000,000 degrees and the food was so hot. Yeah. Like I remember sitting there trying to eat, and I don't know if it was because I had 2 cocktails at Oga's, or I was also super hot and I'm trying to eat hot gumbo and rice,
or all of the above,
because I just felt like as I was sitting there eating, like my heart was exploding slowly, and I was just so hot on the inside out. And I'm like, what's happening to me? And meanwhile, these guys are all sitting around talking to me, well, you're 40 now, and so this is what happens. And I'm like, on the day it happens? No, there's no way.
My body can't fall apart on the day I turn 40.
I can't feel like I'm exploding from the inside out. No. And so I think it was the heat, because it was hot.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I don't know that I've really had gumbo before, so it was fine. But like, I don't know, maybe there's only so much you can do to elevate gumbo. I don't know. Yeah. Nat and Paula each got the chicken, which they said was okay. It was a bit dry. It was, nothing special.
To write home about. And then we got the
cornbread was good.
The cornbread was good. You got the lemon beignet, and then I got the strawberry jam beignet.
I liked the lemon.
Beignets were good.
Yeah, I liked it. But you said the strawberry filling was good, but there were some like strawberries, like real strawberry on top, and you said that wasn't good.
No, it was the reverse. Oh, the strawberries on the outside were good, and the strawberry filling on the inside was not good. I'm like, if they had the strawberry filling on the outside, on the inside, it'd be perfect. That's what it was.
Okay, so anyways, that was definitely our least favorite of the trip.
Yeah.
So then we had booked a lightning lane for Indiana Jones. It was supposed to 45-minute wait. We waited 10 minutes. Everyone loved Indiana Jones.
Also because the ride kept going down, and so we just kept singing.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so we sang along while we were waiting for it to get going again.
Yeah.
I had done a mobile order for Jolly Holiday, so we picked those up, which we were still so full from Tiana's.
We carried it around.
We didn't really need them, but then it worked out because I had gotten 2 of the Mickey macaron, the raspberry ones. You and I ate one of them that night in the hotel, and it was a nice little snack. It's very good. I don't really like macarons. I like that one. And then I actually brought the other one home and just gave it to Cooper, which he was so happy about, because I wasn't sure it would survive.
But it did.
No, it was fine. Like I just kept it in the fridge until we left, and then it was just in my carry-on. But no, he ate it as soon as I got home. He was super happy. So we picked up treats there. Then we flipped back over to DCA. We did Soarin' with a lightning lane. We didn't really need it. Like it was 7:15. No. I think it was pretty much a walk-on anyways. The parks really didn't seem busy this day.
Well, and it was Friday, right?
This was Friday.
It was Friday.
So. We did notice the next day was definitely busier.
Being
on a Saturday. Yeah, which is common for the Disneyland parks. They always say weekdays are a lot less busy. And then 7:30 we did Monsters Inc. Again, we did a lightning lane. Standby was 20 minutes. It posted, but based on how many people were in line, I can't imagine that was more than a 5-minute wait anyways. same thing. We waited less than 5 minutes. We had joined the virtual queue during the day for the color.
Yeah.
What's it called?
World of Color.
World of Color. Thank you. World of Color.
One World. Yeah.
Show, but at this point, Paula was done.
Some people were tired.
And I was not angry about being done because I was like, well, I gotta run 10K in the morning, so I'm okay to be done.
Meanwhile, FOMO baby here on her birthday was like, I don't want to call it yet.
So we when we were already in DCA, so we're like, oh, it's a really quick jaunt back. I will say though, like, so the next night, we do end up doing World of Color. We honestly didn't get to bed that much later than we did this night because we're so close with being able to like cut through. It's game changer.
Yeah.
You're so quick to get back to the hotel from DCA. So we decided to call it night. Again, we walked through the dedicated entrance, which was awesome. The Haunted Mansion virtual queue we joined, it did get called at 8:21.
Yeah. And
so someone was like, should I walk back?
I want to go back. But it was so far.
It's so far. Yeah.
Like,
that's the problem. Like being at Pixar Place to walk all the way back to Disneyland.
It was far. I would have gone back down by myself, but it was far. And then I had to get up the next morning to run a 10K. So.
Yeah. And I was like, we will 100% do it tomorrow. Yeah. Like that's the nice thing about having the next day where we were going to do the parks again. So called it a night. We're like, Steph, we're gonna be kind to our bodies and actually try and get some sleep. Not that you
I can't sleep. I decided I just need to learn I don't sleep race weekends because by the time my excitement dies down, my alarm goes off and it's like you gotta get up. But then most of the time that just doesn't even happen.
But now I'm asleep.
I know. So yes, that's the end of day one. That was the end of my birthday. It was a pretty awesome birthday, I'd have to say.
Yeah.
But the festivities carried on all weekend. So
that's the nice thing about getting those birthday buttons is that every cast member you pass pretty much is going to wish you a happy birthday. And even just like people we would see. And sometimes, and then other people, they would have birthday buttons.
So be like, oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. So like the next day when we were doing In Line for Mission Breakout, there was another group of ladies there. They were also celebrating someone's 40th birthday. That's right. And so we were chatting with them about what they were doing.
I think I was 2 days older than her is what we established.
Yeah. Because we were like, oh, is it your birthday today? Oh, no, it was.
It's 2 days from now or something.
And we were like, oh, so it's yesterday. So yeah, I don't know.
It forms like a talking point.
Yeah. And it's fun to like talk to people and what they were doing. And so, because we were waiting a little bit to get onto that ride. So we chatted with them. And then they were in the row behind us in our photo and they were hilarious.
Oh, they were. That picture is actually a great picture.
That is a great picture.
All right.
So as we mentioned at the start, we're going to skip past the 10K. You're going to have to tune into the next episode to hear about how the races went. But we are going to finish off the trip report of how our Disneyland touring went.
Yes. So on this day, we started off in DCA.
Yeah, so we were a little bit slower to leave because, we had to run a 10K and the 5K race ended in DCA. So there was like a little like walkway straight out of DCA into downtown Disney that you took. This one ends over, ironically, by the IHOP.
Yes, right by the IHOP, in fact. So it's like a 15-minute walk.
Yeah, to the hotel. Honestly, it was a really easy walk. Yeah. But yeah, so by the time we got back, and then also because Nat ran the 10K with us, we had 3 of us still to shower. So luckily Paula was up and showered, which was great. Good job, Paula. So then the 3 of us had to get ready and showered and all that. So we didn't leave the hotel until 7:42. But again, because we were rope dropping DCA, we were able to use the little dedicated entrance.
And it was great.
Delightful.
Went right in.
And we booked, as soon as we scanned in, we booked the Guardians Mission Breakout. Because again, we decided it's first thing in the morning. We don't have a lot of food in our stomachs. This might be the best time to do it. We might feel the least nauseous. Obviously popped some gravel, Nat and I, before we did that one. So because by the time we scanned in, the park was going to open to everyone else at 8 a.m. and Radiator Springs Racers doesn't open for early entry. It only opens for the park at 8 a.m. So I was like, why don't we just get in line for that? Like, we'll just join that line, not worry about rope dropping something else. So anyway, so 7:55, we were in line for Radiator Springs Racers and we waited 21 minutes, which is not.
Yeah. And everybody loved it.
And we were pretty much walking the whole time.
Yeah,
the line never really slowed or anything like that. And we got off. The standby was posted at 60 minutes. I noticed.
Yeah. So but no, it was a good ride.
it was great. Everyone had a great time. And our car won, which is always exciting to be winners that early in the day. So then at 8:30, we scanned into our Guardians Lightning Lane. The standby was already 30 minutes at this point.
Yep.
And we pretty much went right in. I'm trying to remember what the iHop rating was from Nat on this one.
It was
pretty high.
It was high. It was pretty high because that's what makes the picture funny is that you two are looking at each other like, are you going to throw up? Am I going to throw up?
Yeah, so we have this picture. And so you go up and down so many times. So I didn't realize this. This was my first time writing it.
And I warned her.
And with the Tower of Terror, you go up an elevator slowly, like a regular, and then you go across, and then you go up and down and up and down. This one, they launch you. I didn't know this. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So anyways, and then you're like, and then you're going up and down and up and down, and then you go all the way up to the top, and like the door opens, right? And I guess this is the point where Nat kind of turns to me, and I don't even remember what she said.
I don't know, but the picture is awesome.
So in the picture, we're both looking at each other,
and Paul and I are on the other side.
She's like, oh my goodness, Paula looks like she's having the time of her life.
Yeah, because it was great. She loved it. She's like, this is way better than Tower of Terror.
Yeah. So Nat and I, we're joking that we were like, are you gonna throw up or I'm gonna throw up?
I don't know.
It was a lot. Yes. I will say I
think you said it was a one and done.
I was a one and done. I'm very glad I did it. It was a very fun experience. But like I was definitely on their eye being like, end. I need this to end. I cannot survive much more of this. So anyways, I did it.
You did it.
I did it.
Yeah.
I'll do it again.
Yeah. So then after that we booked Web Slingers.
Yeah.
To do it again.
Yeah.
And while we were waiting for Web Slingers, we went to Shawarma Palace and got their Impossible shawarma wrap, something like that. Yeah.
It was good.
It was really good.
The thing was though, so I looked it up and because we were at Mission Breakout and there was one like on the way out to like Hollywood Land or whatever that other land is. And so we walked over there to get it. And then we walked back to where Web Slingers is.
And there actually ended up being one right beside it.
Right across from Web Slingers. Apparently there's more than one cart. And we were like, well,
we could have just gone right there.
Walked over there.
Well, and especially because then Paula and I went to the bathroom, I think. And then when we came back, we're like, there was a cart there.
Yeah, right by the bathrooms. So anyways, we ate that. It was delicious.
It was. We all liked it.
Yeah, I was a big fan. And so then we did Web Slingers. The standby said it was a 25-minute wait. It was walk on with our Lightning Lane. We immediately booked a Toy Story Mania Lightning Lane. It wasn't till 9:55, so we had gotten on Web Slingers at 9:10, so we had a bit of time. So at 9:30 we went to Soarin'. It was a standby of 10 minutes, so we thought we'll just wait, and it was about 10 minutes. We did ask for B on this one.
We did, so that we wouldn't have the Eiffel Tower to be straight.
So when we wrote it the first day, it was a little curvy.
And there was, because B wasn't even running, so we couldn't even ask.
I know, which was so weird. They were only running A and C. I'm like, you're not running the best one. I don't know. That was kind of weird. But so we asked for B, but they could only give us, I think, B2. So we could see, so we saw feet.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But everything was at least straight. Because we got off it the first time and Paula's like, that Eiffel Tower is a little wonky. We're like, yeah, that's a known thing. So,
and because you don't, unless you know, you don't notice it huge until the Eiffel Tower, and then it's very obvious.
Yeah. Whereas if you know and you've ridden it before,
then you can see it and you're like,
you do notice it with all of them. So then it was time for our Toy Story Lightning Lane. Again, it was a standby of 45 minutes. It must just be like slow loading too, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But we walked on with the Lightning Lane. Oh my God, there's like a dog fight happening outside. Okay, all right. Settle down, dogs. We did. Oh, so that was the ride that we tried the new tricks. Remember?
The Toy Story. Yeah. So we looked up how to get the high scores.
Yeah.
And we tried. I think we got almost all of them.
So yeah, well, because I was like, Steph, we should try it for the one we wrote it the day before.
We wouldn't remember any of them.
So we looked them up. We definitely got the alien one.
Yeah, because then the robot opened,
and we got the balloon ones that we
for the volcano.
We got the volcano to erupt.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about some of the other.
There were the ones with at the end of the plates that were if you hit the bats, then you get the higher number of the plates.
Yeah, we got that one. So yeah, and we got our best scores.
We did.
Yeah, we got to be kitties
instead of beavers.
Yeah,
always beavers, but we still were the highest score in the car. No. We're like, who are these people?
I know. So but we now we have some strategies.
Yes,
and
now,
keep trying
well,
them.
for all the other times that we go, we can try things.
And when we go with your brother,
Oh, yeah.
you can like be like, oh, did you only get that, Justin? This is the score I got.
Well, and Elliot will be wanting to go so hard. Be like, how did I do all these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that was fun. So we did that. Then we decided, because we were going to hop over to Disneyland, we were kind of looking at the wait times, or like what the return times were for Lightning Lane. So Indiana Jones was a 2:35 return. So we thought, okay, let's just book that now.
Yeah.
So we have it. So we booked that Lightning Lane. Then we went to have lunch in San Francisco Square.
Which is awesome.
It was so cool.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it's such a neat area. I was glad we did lunch, because when we went back for World of Color later in the evening and people were there having dinner, it was packed.
But it also, like, the atmosphere is so cool. Like,
Yeah.
it does feel like a true night Asian market experience. Like, it's kind of a cool feel. And the food was great.
Yeah, so you and I ate at the Lucky Fortune Cookery.
Yep.
Really good. You had that like lychee cocktail.
Yeah, the strawberry lychee cocktail that was delicious. And then we split the katsu fried chicken sandwich and some dumplings, which were delicious.
Yeah, they were both really good. Nat went to the Mexican restaurant
and got tacos.
Yeah, and she liked those. And Paula got the clam chowder
from Aunt Cass
in the bread bowl.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of liked about it, was that because it has like multiple places and you can mobile order from all of them, it's like everyone can kind of pick what they want. And
they had a good selection of different things.
They had a lot of, like, most of the tables had umbrellas too. So like you could, see everything, or sorry, you could sit in the shade and still like, enjoy the ambiance and whatever. So that was good. We liked that. So then we walked over to Disneyland, scanned in at 11:30. We did a mobile order. People needed coffee
by this time. That was pretty good that we went this long before coffee. So we got coffee. We got in the virtual queue for Haunted Mansion and for World of Color 1.
Oh, and I picked up a mint julep, and I got the cookies from the Harbor Galley.
Oh yes, the box of cookies.
So
oh my gosh,
they're chocolate chip cookies. Now they're not big. Like they're
like this.
They're like 2-inch. 1.5
but they're
diameter.
Warm and they
were warm. Now I did get the cookie butter dip, because I had read to get the cookie butter dip. In my opinion,
it's okay.
It didn't make or break. It wasn't like they were so much better with it. It tasted good, but it tasted good without it. So I would say you don't need to get it. But I think we counted there was 13 cookies.
We got 13 instead of we got 15.
15, and there's supposed to be 12.
And so we got a lot of cookies. And so we were trying to find somewhere cool to sit and eat the cookies. So we found some shade.
So there was this like little wall where there's a tree, and so we're sitting in the shade. And Steph,
I had to go throw something out.
Yeah. And then so Steph's like standing like just like randomly beside like Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
And like waving us over. And we're like, why? There's like nowhere to sit over there. Like, come over here. Come over here. And so we're like, okay, so fine, because we don't want to leave our shaded seat because someone's gonna take it. So we go over and we're like, what is, and she's like, just stand right here. And so I guess there was like,
it's the exit of Haunted Mansion.
The air
was coming through, and it was like a perfect little stream in a little strip of like less shade, but there was like enough shade that we weren't in full sun, but then you get this blast of cool air, and it was just like, oh
yeah. So we sat on the ground.
Yeah, and ate the cookies.
And ate our cookies while we waited for Haunted Mansion Holiday to call us.
Yeah.
So, which it did.
Yes.
We did get called for Haunted Mansion Holiday.
But that wasn't a Haunted Mansion first.
No, we went to Winnie the Pooh first.
We went to Winnie the Pooh.
Sorry, so at 12:05, you're right. We went to Winnie the Pooh. It was posted 5-minute wait. We waited 5 minutes.
Yeah, went into Winnie the Pooh. It was glorious air conditioning.
It was so nice. It was delightful.
We booked Pirates for more air conditioning.
Yeah.
And also, I should mention, we were going to try to do our 10K and all the Disneyland rides.
Right. So Steph had made us shirts that said 10K and all the Disneyland rides in one day. Now, while we were preparing for this trip, Steph was putting together the list, which she laminated for us so we could check them off. And as she's doing it, she's like, do you know how many rides there are? And I was like, no.
35 rides. And that's if everything is running and open. Not everything was running and open, so we were down to 33.
Yeah, because the railroad wasn't open and something else.
Monorail wasn't opening. The railroad wasn't open.
And some of them, I'm like, I just don't care to ride.
Like
some of them.
Columbia Space.
Oh my goodness, there's two boats.
There's two boats. You have to ride the riverboat and the Columbia
sailing ship, which I don't even know if it actually was running, because I don't feel like I ever saw it running, but it was like, I don't want to ride one of these boats, let alone both of these boats. And I really didn't want to do teacups.
We turned it into the Disneyland rides we want to ride, and as many as we could, basically.
And the other problem was when people do this, one, they rope drop Disneyland. We didn't do that.
No,
we rope
because
dropped
our
Disney.
schedule got messed up.
And they stay until park closed, which we didn't because we wanted to go watch World of Color 1. And Steph had to run a half marathon the next morning. So all in all, we set ourselves up for failure. Spoiler alert, we didn't ride very many. Well,
we got half
we got about half.
Yeah. Half
so this was the start of our riding all the rides, quote unquote.
So Winnie the Pooh, booked Pirates.
Yeah.
And then we did Millennium Falcon because they had a 10-minute posted standby and it took 5 minutes.
Like I couldn't believe it's like the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It's an air conditioned ride.
And it's a great ride.
Yeah. So we went and did that. So that was the second time we did it. And that's where, again, Steph and Paula were the pilots and Nat and I were the engineers / gunners because we didn't have any engineers. And it was slightly more successful.
Yeah, and you did it on manual.
I did it on manual, which was kind of neat because then you could actually, you had 3 options for the gun. So you could either do like top, bottom, whatever. So that was kind of neat doing it manual. So I did that. And then we went over to Pinocchio because standby was 10 minutes and we waited 8 minutes. Then we did Snow White. Standby also said 10 minutes. We waited 14. These were fun though, because we started playing guessing games of how long we would actually wait. And we did Price is Right rules. So obviously closest without going over.
So that was a fun way to kill time.
Yeah, it helped to pass the time.
Yeah.
Then we did Mr. Toad's. It was a standby 20 minutes. I think we waited not that long.
No.
I feel like it was like 12 minutes we waited.
It was pretty quick. And yes, as always, Mr. Toad's is one really weird, freaky ride that I was like, this is a ride? Yeah, it's a ride.
We got off and they're like, so like Paul's like, so we went to hell?
Yes.
We died and went to hell? I'm like, yeah.
That's
it's magical. For children.
Yeah.
That line was the nicest though because it had the best AC.
It did. It had great AC.
The queues for Pinocchio and Snow White, since you're near the AC, but since there's such tight lines with the people, it was still like pretty hot. Like, you're still pretty sweaty in those lines. And so then we went to Pirates for our lightning lane. It was a standby of 15 minutes and we only waited 5 minutes. So that was nice. Still, again, I couldn't believe it was only a standby of 15 minutes, but I don't know, it looked longer. Like a lot of these, like the Pirates line always to me looks like it's going to take way longer.
But
it's like, and it's all in the sun.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but it was fine.
And then we booked a lightning lane for Big Thunder, which we went on. So 227 we went on. It was a posted 25-minute wait. We waited 5 minutes. It was really quick.
Buzz.
Yeah, for pretty much immediate return time. We went to Buzz, 245. It was only a posted 5-minute wait. We walked on. It probably wouldn't have taken that long. Steph won.
I did because I discovered I've never been on it. Okay, to be fair, I went down a couple times, so we had more time to shoot at stuff.
Yeah.
So I noticed that there were actual targets that were different colors. So if you hit the targets that were different colors, you got way more points.
Yeah.
So I did the best I've ever done.
Yeah. Although we still ended up both being Space Cadets.
Yeah. But I got like the highest score I've ever got on that ride.
Yeah. Then we did Star Tours. It was standby of 5 minutes. We just walked on. For this one, I told Matt, I was like, just close your eyes and just enjoy the bumpy ride. And every once in a while, you can open your eyes and just see where we are.
Well, and it was a different story because it was like the Ahsoka story, and they had like space whales, and so it was different. So this is where, for the first time ever, I actually started to not feel well.
Oh,
because I didn't feel great, but I think I was just too hot. I think it comes down to like why I felt so terrible during like the day. That day was I was too hot and I was probably dehydrated, even though I was drinking a ton. Mm-hmm. And I also don't think I ate enough this weekend to do.
Yeah, this is when you kind of like when we went to dinner this night.
I hit a wall hard. I didn't want anything.
Yeah,
because I was like, I'm gonna throw up. This is what's gonna happen.
So then at 3:30, our virtual queue was called for Haunted Mansion. Yay! We had a Mickey and Minnie's lightning lane, so we ended up going and doing that because we were over in Tomorrowland. So we're like, we'll do that, and then we'll go to Haunted Mansion. We did lightning lane. It was a walk on, but honestly, the standby was like a walk on too.
Yeah, and then it went down.
Yeah,
like right when we were getting queued up to go into whichever car.
Which I was kind of happy that it went down then and not when we were on the ride.
Yeah, because there were people on the ride.
Yeah. So we didn't. So anyways, and they gave us a multi-experience. Like they said, everyone, because we
You
were
just
already
scanned
through
it.
the pre-show, and then we were just in the lineups waiting to like get onto the actual cars. So everyone who was in there got a multi-experience. So they scanned our bands on the way out. At 4 o'clock, we got in line for Haunted Mansion. It was a super long line. So like it was out, down, like it was almost as far as like we weren't quite at Winnie the Pooh.
No, but I think it's that they were having issues with like people getting the queues right and everything. And once that sort of got sorted out, then it just went.
It moved so quickly though, yeah, because they had people like kind of right at the start of where you would actually join the queue, scanning to make sure that, or like checking to make sure that your virtual queue had been called. And then you went in and then somebody else scanned you and then we were in line and then it was like super quick. Like we actually, I think we only waited like 8 minutes.
It was very quick.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
It was so good.
Like a lot better than I had expected it to be.
I liked it better than regular Haunted Mansion.
I agree. I feel like it should be like that all the time, but then it's just basically the Nightmare Before Christmas.
I feel like you're like,
I know, I'm slowly drifting out. Yeah, it was great. I really liked it. I'm also a big Nightmare Before Christmas fan.
Yeah.
So
well, and I was telling Deacon because he loves Nightmare Before Christmas, like it's like his favorite movie. And so I told him because we're going to be in Disneyland in November. So I'm like, bud, you are going to love it.
Yeah.
Because I thought when they said overlay, I was like, oh, they'll just like decorate, you know, have this. It's a completely like the whole, even the narration is different.
Yeah, the narration is different. A bunch of the animatronics are all different.
Yeah.
A bunch of like the lighting is all very different.
Yeah, it's like a different ride.
Yeah, so it's good.
It's really cool. Yeah, I'm really glad.
Well worth the virtual queue.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I've kind of heard that people don't really understand virtual queues in Disneyland because there's so many regulars that go, like all the people who actually live there. So they're not like used to virtual queues and this whole thing. Whereas in Disney World, it's like everything is planned.
It's how you have to do it.
So anyways, loved that. We had originally planned to do a Cafe Orleans lunch, but decided to move that to dinner.
Because we had a earlier, because that's when we ate in San Francisco. We ate earlier.
And because we wanted to get into the Haunted Mansion virtual queue, we're like, let's not have to worry about jumping between. Anyways, so we had a 4:30 dinner, so that worked out perfectly because we were right next door. It was very good. I know this is when you were not feeling
but the salad I had was delicious, and it was what I needed. Burrata. It was a burrata salad with prosciutto on it, because it was like a crispy prosciutto, and like the crispy prosciutto was like the best thing I had, and that's when I realized, oh, my electrolytes are all messed up because it was so salty, but so delicious. I was like, oh, this is what my body needs.
And I got the Monte Cristo sandwich.
Yeah, the deep fried Monte Cristo sandwich.
Yes, it was very good. I see why and I got it with a little side salad, which had way too much dressing on it. If I got it again, I would just ask for dressing on the side because it was kind of drenched. But it was delicious. And the reason I could eat it was because Swiss cheese doesn't have any lactose, apparently.
Yes, Swiss cheese is disgusting.
I know. So anyway, so I let her have a bite. She's like,
I was like, no,
she didn't like it. And then I also got the creme brulee tart because it was a plant-based.
Yes, and you and Nat split that.
Yes, it was good. I really liked it. All in all, I was very happy with the meal. I think I had like a iced tea, unsweetened iced tea.
You had an unsweetened iced tea, and the rest of us had Coke, and that was the other thing I had really wanted, which is just really wanted a really cold Coke. And I was like, oh, this is
the only thing I was disappointed by was that we sat. So our seat was great in terms of like people watching,
and there was some good people watching.
There was some great people watching, but also I was like, I really wanted to be inside of the AC.
I know, but it was okay. It was fine to people watch.
Yeah. So then at 5:35, we went to Indiana Jones. We used our multi-experience there. It was posted 40 minutes. We waited 10 minutes. And again, everyone loved it. And I got to sit in the seat where you actually get to hold the steering wheel
and drive.
It was so fun. Oh my God. It was like, I was like, this like adds to the experience of getting to like hold onto the steering wheel. So I'm like, I want to ask for that every time.
I would like to hold the steering wheel, please.
Yeah. And then there's nobody in front of you as you're like going through. So like, I guess it was really fun.
So then this is where we deviated a little bit. We decided, because we had other multi-experiences to use. So Paula and I decided to go back and ride Space Mountain again. Pukey 1 and Pukey 2 decided that they didn't want to ride Space Mountain, so they went and did Buzz.
I will say, Space Mountain I'm okay with. I just don't love it as a ride. Like to me, it's kind of like, is it worth feeling slightly nauseous? Like,
that's fine.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, worth it.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It is so fun.
Whereas
the music makes it.
Exactly. Space Mountain to me, I'm like, I think if it was like the hyperspace, I'd probably be a little more like.
Yeah, because the hyperspace definitely made it different. Yeah. So that was good.
Yeah. So we did Buzz. You both did that. Like,
it was great.
We both pretty much walked on.
Yep.
Then we went to the Nemo.
We went to the Nemo sub ride.
And then this is where Paula got quote unquote yelled at. So we were like, oh, we'll meet at the ride. So Nat and I got there first, and then Steph and Paula joined us. And now Steph is a tiny person,
so I could go underneath.
She like went under the, or no, you squeezed between.
I did. I squeezed between the railing, and Paula can go get through the railing.
Paula's like, anyways, so she was like, I'm gonna go under, which I was like, Paula, this is not gonna work. Like,
and then she got yelled at by a cast member. He's like, no, come around, meet your friends over here.
But then it worked out because he just had her meet us. He just had her go through the lightning lane line so we could stand by.
And there was nobody there. So.
Yeah, it was actually, we actually waited quite a while for that one.
I think it was just that time.
I think it's just a slow loading because it's like they load so many people in each one of the submarines, but then they have to wait till everyone gets out. So it said it was posted 10. We waited 14 minutes, which wasn't a long wait, but like for that, anyways,
for what it is,
it was okay.
Yeah. I said to the girls, I was like, so I've written this before and I don't really remember it. And it was because I fell asleep when I did it with my son when we went last year. Because then when I went on this time, it's like, oh, there's way more than I remember.
Yeah. So, it is cute. Like, I think kids would really,
if you like Finding Nemo, it's a very cute ride.
And it was actually pretty long. It was longer than I expected. So then we were right across from Matterhorn. We booked a lightning lane. The standby was 35 minutes. We waited 5 minutes for the lightning lane. We all really liked this one. And I was nervous about riding it because I had read so many things about how hard it is on your body, and we are aging bodies. So I'm like, this is going to be, I didn't find it was hard on my body at all.
No. Well, and so I was telling my husband about this, telling Higgy about this ride. And he's like, there's no Jamaican bobsled ride. Why didn't they reframe it to a Cool Runnings ride? I'm like, that's a great question. They really could.
I know.
Redo it.
But this one had 2 Yetis, and they both worked.
They did both work.
So, yeah. Anyways, I really liked it. I actually was telling my kids, I'm like, we should definitely ride it because it reminded me a lot of Big Thunder Mountain. It's just like kind of up and down and zooming around, and it's in and out of the mountain. So it's not like, some slightly dark parts, but same as Big Thunder where you're not in them for very long. Anyways, so I really like that. So anyways, that was the end of our Disneyland rides. We did 15. 15 rides.
15 rides.
Which, we only rode rides between noon, 12 and 7.
And I would say the only ride we didn't get to that we wanted to get to would have been like Peter Pan.
Yeah, we didn't do Peter Pan because you can't get a lightning lane for it. And it was always like a 30-minute wait, and it's in the sun. I'm like, it's not worth it for
Peter
me.
Pan and Roger Rabbit, just because Roger Rabbit is one of the only other rides you can do.
Well, and we would have ridden Mickey and Minnie's had it not gone down.
Exactly.
So
there you go.
Anyways,
what was that?
So then we booked a lightning lane for Grizzly River Run because it's a water ride,
and we were hot.
It was still
so hot.
So we went over there around 7. We walk all the way there, and it's down. We're like, damn. So we got a multi-experience pass. And then this was the fun part, is that it kept being down. So I kept rebooking the lightning lane and getting more multi-experience passes, which we didn't even use.
No, she just did it for fun, just to see like, oh, how many multi-experience passes can I get?
You kept rebooking it. So you and Paula actually used one of the multi-experience passes
to do the Incredicoaster because I've been wanting to do it at night.
Yeah, and you said that was really fun.
It was better actually, because the stuff, there's like stuff that happens when you're in these covered tubes about the different variations Jack takes on.
Yeah.
And they're hard to see quickly, but when it's dark, it's much easier to see them quickly.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
We have a lot of spoilers in this.
We do. Sorry. Well, it's like if people, not everybody makes it out to California. So
I know, that's true.
Now you have reason to live it on yourself.
We'll have to put it in the description of this episode. Lots of spoilers.
If you don't
want to know anything about Disneyland before you go, don't listen to this. But then why are you listening to this podcast? Anyways, so you both went to ride Incredicoaster. Nat and I went and got margaritas.
Yeah, in San Francisco.
And then Nat wanted popcorn. And the only place we could find for popcorn was back at like the front of the park.
So you guys,
which was kind of annoying. So we walked all the way back there because Nat was originally going to get popcorn as we were leaving Disneyland, but we were about to go on a water ride. So I'm like, well, do you want to get popcorn now? And there were lockers, which we saw afterwards for the water ride. So I guess technically you could put it in a locker, but anyways. So then at 8:15, Nat and I went and got checked in for the World of Color show. So it started at 9. We were in the blue section and we got a spot. It was right against a railing. So we were up, like we'd stand against the railing, and then there was like kind of bushes. And then the dessert party seating was like
right in front of us. But you could also go down further.
Yeah.
But then there's signs that say you will get wet.
And what the reason I didn't want to go down further is I was like, well, I think we have a great view because we basically have the same view as the dessert party people.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna see exactly what they see, which we had a great view from where we were. But then we were so close to the exit that I was like, we didn't have to wait for all these people because it did get really busy.
It did, yeah.
Down in that lower section. So I was really happy. So we just sat there, and then you and Paula, when you finished up, you came and joined us. So we had space for the four of us. You were allowed to go out, like a few of us went out to go to the bathroom, and they were pretty,
Paula went and got like ice cream.
Yep.
See, this is how I knew I was not in a good space, because you guys were getting like all stuff that I'd normally be like, yes, I want a margarita, yes, I want like a slushie, and I'm like, I don't want any of this. I wanted nothing. I wanted just to like stare, watch the colors, and I did.
Yeah,
they were great. It was a good show.
I will say, just back to the margarita, we got them at the
it was like the Margarita Hut.
It was right in San Francisco,
like right in the middle.
Yeah. Whatever it was called, something turbines, Rosie's turbines or something like that. They were really good.
Yes,
like these guys kept Nat was saying that she doesn't really like margaritas, and she's like, this one is so good. And it was just like slush from
but it was good.
But yeah, they were delicious, perfect. And the salt from the popcorn was perfect because I needed salt at this point in the day after sweating so much from the heat. So yeah, the show, loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
10 out of 10.
So good.
Great music. The effects on the water.
Yeah, were so good. Like the projections.
Yes. And then at certain times, like even the colors on the Incredicoaster, the wheel, even there was like little lamps like all through like the seating area.
It was all time.
It was all time.
It was so cool.
The Incredicoaster was especially cool. There was like that one
that went across.
Yeah, it was like it went all across the Incredicoaster and the wheel, whatever that is, the Ferris wheel,
the spinny Ferris wheel, the Mickey wheel.
Anyways, it was really cool, totally worth seeing. We loved it. And then we just used the dedicated entrance back to Pixar Place. And like I said, I think we were lights out by like 9:45.
Yeah, like I think I did like my final post and then passed out for a couple of hours before having to wake up again for the half.
Yeah. So all in all, I mean, we pretty much stuck to our schedule for the most part after we had to rejig things for which park had early entry. I think we got so much done. The lightning lanes were so easy to use here. Yeah. Like it was like you could always find something with a lightning lane available. Later in the night, getting those, we could have used those multi-experiences to ride a whole bunch of stuff.
Part of the problem was though, is that we had ridden so many things already. Like unless we went back and did stuff,
but you could. So one thing to note is when you went in to see what you could ride for the multi-experience, you could do it in both parks.
You could,
and it actually showed you which ones you could ride.
But there were a bunch of rides that we would have considered doing that didn't count. Like we would have considered doing Toy Story again, but we couldn't do it.
So, and I mean, I think Disneyland was open till like midnight that night. So like if we weren't getting up for a race the next day, you could have continued to use them and gone back to their park. So you can definitely get your money's worth with lightning lanes at Disneyland.
I mean, honestly, you're spending all the money to go there.
I know, it's like $20 more.
Just get the lightning lanes. Make your life easier and make you want to kill less people standing in line. Like, it's just worth it.
And we didn't pay for, that's the other thing we should mention. Like, we didn't end up riding Rise again.
Yeah.
We could have paid for the
we decided not to.
Single pass lightning lane, but we were like, we rode it already. I don't want to pay $25 to ride it again.
You and I have also ridden it like a lot.
Yes, we have. So, there were certain things where it's like we didn't even pay, and like same with Radiator Springs Racers, like we didn't pay for the single pass because we were able to rope drop it. So, we
didn't pay for any single passes this trip.
I know. Because our planning was so good.
Oh, yes.
So that wraps up our 2 days at the parks. We didn't do the parks on the Sunday, just Steph's race, and then we lounged and headed home that day.
But eventually, adventures to tell you about that
on the next episode. So next episode, we will talk about how the 10K race went and Steph's half and getting home. So until next time, Steph.
Tweedle out.